Hello Forkies, this is day 56 of me playing chess every day until I reach the rapid rating of 2500. So here we go. We have the game, we have the black pieces against a pretty lower rated opponent. Um, so pawn to e4 it is, I will play my Caro-Kann defense. Now pawn to d4 is the best move. Some of knight c3, some lines in knight c3 are also nice, knight f3, but d4 is played. Now pawn to d5 is the whole idea, of course, attacking the center, and now pawn to e5, the advanced variation, trying to grab as much space as you can. So now bishop f5 is the main line. There is also the move c5, which is nice, but I don't play it. Knight f3 main line, pawn to e6, and now bishop e2. Also bishop d3 is a line, but it's not a pretty good one. So bishop e2, and now there are many options, but like 97 or 97. But I like playing c5 now. Bishop e3 is the best move. Bishop e3 takes, knight takes, and knight e7. If knight takes, I'm fine with giving up my light squared bishop, of course, and then playing knight c6 and e5 will be weak. And yes, c3 is also a okay move. It's nothing special. Just knight c6, continue developing, and we will see what will happen. Now castles, okay. Probably just takes, because I wanna play knight e7 and then takes is a possibility, so just takes, pawn takes. And yes, we'll see, maybe a6, rook c8, knight e7, and knight g6 with h6 and bishop h7 inserted like this or like this. Taking with the knight here is not pretty good. I mean, no, you should take with the pawn, of course. If you take with the knight, then your e5 pawn is weak, so yes, you took back with the pawn, which is correct. Now that I look at this position, probably queen b6 is also a move here. But let's just play it so slowly, yeah. Maybe rook c8 to begin with, so that bishop d3 is out of the question, because takes and knight b4 is a fork, although then still some queen b5 ideas. But that doesn't matter, so just rook c8 probably is fine. Maybe bishop d3 then knight b4, but still there is check and check here, so maybe a6 firstly. And yes, I will play this slowly. I don't need to fully develop yet. He has 0 attack actually. He has to like play h3, maybe g4. Knight c3 is an okay move, but I mean nothing special. I could consider playing bishop b4 actually, which is not a pretty typical idea. And then rotate my bishop to c7 or to b6 perhaps. Probably to b6 and then going to attack d4 at some point. But I don't like that. I don't like that. Also, what is my opponent's idea really? Knight e7 and h6. Maybe his idea is to... No, you cannot really play bishop g5, just bishop e7. And knight e7 is fine for me. But still, h6, knight e7, bishop h7 and knight f5 to attack d4. Excuse me, is just another possibility for black. So let's start with knight e7. Although then there is the move knight to b5, trying to go to d6. So perhaps start with a6. And then maybe with h6, bishop h7, and then only knight f. I mean, it is slow, but I guess this is life, yeah. Here also b5 and knight to c4 is an idea, so let's just play a6 and b5 in the near future. Maybe queen b6, of course, is an option as well. But yes, my opponent is only 1800, so I will try to outplay him slowly, positionally, not with some crazy attacks. That's usually not working. So yes, b5, queen b6. I need to develop my my king side as well. He plays a4, which is a very weakening move actually. just b4 is now completely mine forever. Mm, so I think bishop b5 now is a way better move than it used to be. Bishop b4. And then even taking and c3 will be weak. If he cannot push a c4, then he's just... So yes, bishop b4 and 97. He cannot challenge my bishop. He cannot move his knight, so bishop b4. Oh, my opponent will disconnect in 1 minute and a half. That's pretty bad. I hope that doesn't happen. Or... No, he's back online. My opponent is back online. I don't know what I would have done if my opponent would disconnect. I guess I would just play another game, and today's day would have 2 games, but okay, he's back, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. But yes, bishop b4 also prevents the idea of pushing a5, although they're just knight a5 in that position, nothing special. Bishop e3 now comes to mind, although b2 is... Maybe even queen a5 will be an idea in the near future. Perhaps not. Perhaps it doesn't do anything. But with some knight jumps here on f5 or maybe on g6, it might do a lot. So 97 and castles are the 2 top priorities of the position. Also bishop d2 is, I guess, just too passive. I mean, what are your 2 bishops doing here? Absolutely nothing. Bishop d2 is an option to take back with the bishop, but even if I give you my bishop pair, then bishop takes on c3, I mean, your bishop is kinda stuck here. I guess you're trying to play a5, but... I mean, a5 will be a weakness on long term, so... I don't really think, so my goodness. I don't really think there is much my opponent is trying to do here. This a4 move was just very big weakness created. Not only on the pawn, but also on these 2 squares, on b3 and on b4, of course. So these 2 squares are now pretty weak here. But yes, we will see. Bishop e3 played, which I think is good move, very good move. Trying to play rook c1 in the future. Though after rook c1, just queen a5, how will you defend the... Oh, I guess you are just defending the pawn with your queen as well, so bishop takes is not a threat. But yes, just knight e7, h6, bishop h7 and knight f5. A lot of pressure here. Queen b6, maybe rotating the bishop back to b6 also. But just knight e7 for now, yeah? I'm not missing anything. No, I'm not. a5 doesn't matter. No, knight e7 is good. Rook c1, I guess, will be late here. But yeah, just castles, maybe queen b6. You cannot move this pawn anywhere to attack my queen, so there is no discovered attack whatsoever. But yes, my next move is probably castles. You will... I mean, knight h4 is not a move, because if you take just knight takes, you are helping me actually. Because my bishop on f5 is just the worst piece that I have on the board. So if I can trade this piece for this perfectly fine knight on f3, I should be pretty happy, and investing 2 temp in getting a bishop pair that's not even doing that much, I don't think it's worth it. Maybe the computers will like the idea of knight h4 now that I'm not attacking h4 anymore, or defending h4 square if you will. But yes, knight h4 not really an idea. Why? Because I'm usually protecting the h4 square in the Caro-Kann advanced variation. But now currently it is possibility, definitely. I don't think it is the best, maybe even knight, but I wanna have a knight on f5, so if you're willing to help me, I'm fine with that. But yes, rook c1 happens. I think just castles, nothing else. And also castles, maybe f6 in some positions, totally dislodging this d4 pawn. But yeah, just castles for now. h6, bishop h7 probably, and knight f5, queen b6, maybe queen c7 and bishop b6. Maybe knight to c4 is also an option here. I will try to attack this a4 pawn that my opponent has pushed already, so it will be a long positional game, I think. And I like playing those positions, so um that's fine for me. Um I don't know what I would have played if I were in my opponent's shoes. Um Rook e1, yes, but now you are self-pinning here, which doesn't look too great, yeah? I mean, not that you wanna move that knight, but still, it doesn't look very nice. Just h6, bishop h7, and knight f5 is my short-term plan, and then I will probably play queen b6 or b5, sacrificing the pawn, maybe knight a5, knight c4. B5 is not possible until I get knight c4 in, and then the knight is pinned, so that would have worked. But yes, just h6 and enabling anything to come to g5. So yes, that's just what I want. Now if knight h4, I would also consider bishop h7, just retreating. Probably not giving my bishop away that easily. If I can clear the square for my knight. But I'm not sure. Definitely I'm not sure. Um, I don't know actually what my plan in this position is. I mean, I know some ideas like queen b6, queen f5 I guess is also nice, queen c7, maybe queen d7 doubling up on the c file, and I don't know how to break through yet. I will try to optimize my position, slow improving moves, and then maybe even queen e7, maybe queen a5. But playing positionally, improving my pieces, improving my piece placement, yes. Um, Maybe breaking with f6 and then rook takes. Then my e6 pawn is weak. Going bishop d2 looks very suspicious, yeah. Oh my goodness, this looks so bad actually. Firstly, you are undefending the pawn with your bishop and your queen, so now it is only defended once. So bishop h7 and knight f5 has a great impact, and you will need to play bishop e3 back. And that just free temp is for me to play bishop h7, yeah? Maybe queen b6 is also a good move here, but queen b6, if bishop e3 is played back, I don't think I wanna put my queen on b6 actually. Even though it is a free move. I prefer having the knight on f5 in literally like 2 moves and then playing bishop e3 back than putting my queen on b6, which is a free temp, yeah. I'm not sure that's so good. I will play queen b6 eventually, but bishop h7 and knight f5 I think is the most is the best plan in this position. I'm sure my knight wants to go to f5, but I'm not sure if my queen wants to be on b6 actually. So wow, you play knight a2. I cannot say I saw this move. But it looks so... I guess it looks logical, and that's probably why I should have played queen b6 earlier. But even if I have played queen b6, then still... No, queen b6 is just a bad move after knight e2, I believe. Probably I would need to take, and then nothing would happen really. So now knight f5, of course blunders a piece here, so let's not do that. Probably just bishop takes. This bishop is probably the best piece my opponent has. But probably that's not true blocking with these pawns. But against light square bishop, I'm fighting on light square, so that's just good for me. Now queen takes and knight f5, probably followed by queen b6. Yes, that's just what I want. Knight a5, b4, blunders queen b6, fork. Actually, b4 is not under attack in that particular moment, but still it's kind of weird. So yes, knight f5, optimizing my pieces. I don't know what to say. Queen b6 followed, probably. queen b6 and doubling up on the c file looks nice. I still don't know where I will open up the position into my advantage. But yes, I will try to figure that part out in the near future. Mm. Also, this a4 pawn looks kind of weird, yeah. Maybe queen d7 and then like knight e7, but then I guess just a5 and nothing happens. Also, queen a5 in some positions. That doesn't look too bad actually. But yes, I don't hate my position. I definitely don't hate my position. Knight b4. Well, this is an interesting move actually. He wanted he wants to trade pieces off the board, which is quite interesting. I'm seeing a line like queen b6, forcing him to take, and then taking back, probably with the pawn and playing c5. Playing c5 is always nice. Queen b6 here takes, a5, queen b7, queen c2, maybe queen a7, not queen b7, so that I keep attacking this pawn. And also queen c2 just hangs this, right? Or knight g3 or knight e3, but probably just knight takes on d4. But this, I definitely like the transformation of the pawn structure with queen b6, so let's go. Definitely just knight takes is the only move. Although knight c3 is something I blundered eventually, but I guess that it is just knight d4. I have zero problems whatsoever. So knight d3 is something I missed, but knight d4 and knight to d4 is just completely fine for me. So that's a move I eventually missed, but doesn't do anything. So knight takes c6, b takes on c6 back. Yes, so just one takes, right? Rook c5, knight d7 is good. No, I cannot play knight d7. Oh my goodness. How stupid of me. Wait, rook c5? Here is something I also missed. I can't play knight d7 back. Of course I can't. Ay, ay, ay. But that's the question now. Do I wanna... I mean, if takes and rook c5, I play something like rook b8, I guess. It's not that bad, I think. Maybe threatening to take on b2. It's just pawn takes and now rook c5 is probably the best move in the position. That I don't have knight d7. Why did I think that I have knight d7? I have no idea. I have no idea. Now a5 happens, which is interesting. And now I need to think. Do I play queen b7 or queen a7? Probably queen b7 to create some counterplay here. I guess. Also queen a7. Stop defending the c6, so that's not too... Just queen b6, yes. Queen c2 I always have knight takes on d4, so... Queen c3... I mean... I'm feeling I'm getting kinda outplayed here. Probably queen b6 was a bad idea. I don't know why I thought I get the knight to d7. That's... total lapsus. But yes, we will see rook c5 now played. Yes, nice. Rook a8 to defend this pawn. Rook c1 here takes and here. Also a6 will just be hanging, so that doesn't quite help. So rook b8 here takes and takes. Rook takes, but bishop takes. It's not very pleasant endgame. the rooks. But I guess it is because I pick up this pawn and then it's the same amount of material with this backwards pawn. So I guess I could try to win that one. Um, so yes, let's just play rook b8. But the endgame, the following endgame won't be easy to defend. I mean, firstly to win the a5 pawn back, and secondly to win against this weak pawn on d4. That will be ultra hard, but I will do my best, absolutely. So yes. Also, like, rook c1 is an option. Rook c1, yes, I calculated that, and queen takes, queen takes. Oh, I guess queen, rook c1, queen here, there is rook c2. You play rook b1 actually, wow. Wow, this looks like a big blunder. Knight takes d4 is now just available. What's my opponent next move after knight takes on d4? On d4, knight takes, I believe, to create some counterplay here. Then like knight takes, and I play queen c2. Wait, what? Knight takes on d4. Knight takes. I take the rook, of course. So yes, knight takes d4. That was a complete blunder by my opponent. I mean, the rook is undefended on b1, and also this is now probably just resignable. You will be down on exchange and a pawn. In the best case scenario. So yeah, that's, you have no attack on the king side, so, and also my bishop can go back to g6 and be a really nice defensive piece, so there is just nothing now. Even the c6 pawn will be a passed pawn soon, which is kind of hard to imagine here that c6 can be a passed pawn, and my opponent resigns. GG, we are back to 2000 actually, so let's game review the game. This one was pretty short, but we'll do maybe an extensive analysis on this one, because there is a lot of ideas to see. So my opponent played with 79% accuracy, I played with 87, which is pretty okay, nothing special. So let's analyze the game. It was e4, pawn to c6, d4 and d5, and here there are many options. For example, you could play knight c3, that's something my opponent have played recently in an over the board game. You could play f3, which I really like to play. After takes, you get a big white center here. Also, what are the lines? You could just take the pawn, entering the exchange variation with bishop d3, something like this. Nothing special. You have the two bishops on long diagonals, but it is just fine. So e5 is normally the best way of playing, the most edgy way of playing. Now bishop f5, knight f3 is the short variation, named after Nigel Short, of course, which is just fine. Playing bishop e2 and then like c4 or c3. I played e6, bishop e2, and now knight d7 or knight e7 are two main lines here. Knight e7, knight b2, h6, and knight b3. Now one of the ideas is to push g5 and play bishop g7, which is kind of weird if you haven't seen this already. Pushing g5 and h6 in the Caro-Kann defense. But yes, this has been played before. Dingleren have played this. But yes, it doesn't matter. So after bishop e2, I played c5, which is the most straightforward way of playing the position. Now pawn to c3, not the best way. Bishop e3 is the best move and the theoretical main line. After takes and knight e7. You play c4 here, knight bc6. I need to remember the theory here. I don't think it is queen a4, which is the best way by the computer, so let me check. But it is, knight a4 is the best, queen a4 is the best way. But then I don't remember. So a6 apparently, and then something like knight c3, and you get this kind of position, which is just fine. But yes, he played c3, I played knight c6, which was fine. Castles and takes and rook c8, which was the first not theoretical move of the game. Um, the most theoretical and the most played move here is knight g2 e7, which has been played over 150 times. So knight to e7. Now I will remember here what is the theory. You play knight c3, knight c8, and bishop e3 now, and bishop e7, and you castle. Where do you put your knight? Probably to b6 and to c4, or maybe a6, b5, and then to c4 maybe. Well, this is nice position, but I played rook c8, knight c3, a6, and a4, which was a mistake. Yes, this was a mistake, as I mentioned, and bishop b4 is just a legitimate way of exploiting this weakening move a4. Now b4 cannot be challenged. So bishop e3 was played, knight g2 e7, rook c1, and I castled. Now rook e1 was played, which was kind of weird self-pinning here. You are not really developing this rook anywhere. Probably f4 and f5 is more likely than something opening up on the e-file. But I guess f6 and takes do create some weaknesses. So I played h6, which was nice. Bishop d2, mistake. There are many options to exploit that mistake. Even queen b6 is fine, but I wasn't really sure about it. So I played bishop h7, which was still fine, -1 for black. Knight a2, I took the d2 bishop, and now I played knight f5, which was actually a mistake. I should have played bishop to e4, which is very interesting. I'm not sure why bishop e4, let's say something like rook c3 as trying to double up, and now bishop, not bishop, but queen b6, rook d1 defending because I was threatening to take and take here, and now knight f5. Okay, you wanna have the bishop on e4 when you play knight f5 actually. g4 probably just takes on f3s. If here just takes, which is just winning. I played knight f5 without having the bishop on e4, which was a mistake. So yes, maybe even this whole h6 idea here, where did I play h6 here, perhaps just takes and bishop e4 and knight f5. That's something I have learned today. But I played knight f5, which is still fine, it is equal. Knight b4. There is there is queen a5. Here takes, knight takes, rook takes, pawn takes, and knight f3 defending here, and rook b8. And this endgame is apparently much better for black. No, you don't take on b. You play rook a8, logically enough. But bishop b7 takes, and here is -1 for black. I guess this bishop is weird here, but it can always go back to f1, for example, and you have just an extra pawn and black is better. Please explain me if you can, but okay. Knight f5, knight b4, and queen b6 played. Knight takes, pawn takes, a6, queen b7, all the best moves. And now rook b8. And now the only blunder in the game, that was the losing move for my opponent, and the last move of the game for him, which was rook b8, rook b1, excuse me. I simply played knight d4, and he resigned. Of course, you can take the knight, but then bishop takes b1, and something like knight takes here, attacking the rook. Not the only good move, but queen takes on b2 is the simplest win. If you take here, I take your queen, so that's not possible. So if you take me, I take you. If you go bishop a6, I guess just rook a8, bishop f1, I don't know, rook a2 perhaps, maybe even bishop back, but I should be able to convert this position quite easily with this protected passer and this weakness on a5 being up on exchange. So I won today's game. It was not smoothly, but I was never in any kind of trouble, and yes, that was something I have noticed today. So if you have anything to tell me, please let me know in the comments below. I will be reading and answering all of your comments. And if you like the video, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.